The Forbidden Archive, the deep space scanner aboard the UES Horizon, had been pinging the same anomaly for 3 hours straight. Captain Maria Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling energy readings that made no sense. According to any known physics, the anomaly hung in empty space between two dead star systems, pulsing with a rhythm that seemed almost alive. "Captain, the energy signature is unlike anything in our databases," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson. "Park, her science officer. It's not matching any known alien technology we've encountered through the Galactic Council." Rodriguez had been exploring the frontier regions for 5 years, pushing humanity's boundaries ever further from Earth. The Council had granted humans limited exploration rights after their recent admission to galactic society, but there were still vast regions marked as restricted or unknown on their star charts. This sector fell into the latter category. "Distance to the anomaly?" Rodriguez asked, her voice steady despite the excitement building in her chest. 12,000 kilometers and closing. Recommend we drop out of warp and approach on sublight engines." The decision was easy. Rodriguez had not become humanity's youngest deep space captain by avoiding mysteries. "Make it so, and prep the away team. I want Dr. Chen down here immediately." Dr. Sarah Chen arrived on the bridge within minutes, her xenocology equipment already in hand. She had joined the Horizon's mission specifically to study ancient alien ruins, though they had found precious little during their 6-month voyage. At 35, Chen was considered one of Earth's leading experts on pre-Council civilizations, despite having only fragments of alien history to work with. "What do we have, Captain?" Chen asked, studying the main viewer as the anomaly grew. "Larger. Something that shouldn't exist," Rodriguez replied. "No star charts show anything in this region, but that energy signature has been stable for who knows how long." As they approached, the anomaly resolved into something far more incredible than any of them had imagined. It was a massive space station, easily 10 kilometers in diameter, its architecture unlike anything in the known galaxy. The structure appeared to be constructed from a crystalline material that seemed to absorb and reflect light in impossible ways, creating patterns that hurt to look at directly. "By the stars," Chen whispered. "Captain, this predates anything the Council has on record. The construction techniques, the materials, even the geometric patterns are completely unknown." The station hung motionless in space, but as the horizon drew closer, sections of it began to glow with a soft blue light. It was responding to their presence. "Scanning for life signs," Park reported. "Nothing. The station appears to be automated, but there's massive computational activity throughout the structure." Rodriguez made the decision that would change human history. "Prep the shuttle. Dr. Chen, you're with me." The docking bay that opened to receive their shuttle was clearly designed for ships much larger than anything humans had built. The bay doors moved with fluid grace, revealing an interior chamber that seemed to extend far beyond what the station's external dimensions should have allowed. "The geometry is wrong," Chen muttered as they walked through corridors that seemed to bend space around them. "This technology is beyond anything we've seen. Even the most advanced Council species couldn't build something like this." They followed glowing pathways that appeared beneath their feet, leading them deeper into the station. The walls were covered with symbols that seemed to shift and change when viewed directly. But Chun's translation software was having no success with the alien script. The pathways led them to a vast circular chamber filled with floating crystalline displays. As they entered, the room came alive with holographic projections showing star maps, alien worlds, and data streams that filled the air around them. At the center of the chamber stood a pedestal holding what appeared to be an interface designed for humanoid hands. "It's beautiful," Chen breathed, pulling out her recording equipment. "Captain, this is the archaeological find of the century, maybe of all time." As Chen approached the interface, a voice filled the chamber. It spoke in a language that was musical and complex, but somehow both humans found they could understand it perfectly. "Welcome, children of Kelthari Prime," the voice said. "I am Archivist Zeph, guardian of the Great Catalogue. I have waited long for your return." Rodriguez and Chen exchanged glances. "Return?" Rodriguez asked aloud. The holographic display shifted, showing a blue-green world that looked remarkably similar to Earth. "Your birth world was known to the creators as Kelthari Prime, the first seed, the origin of all designs. From there, the makers spread life throughout the galaxy before a voice paused, before the great silence began. I think there's been a mistake," Chen said carefully. "We're from Earth. Humanity is a young species. We only achieved spaceflight a few hundred years ago." The chamber fell silent for a long moment. Then Archivist Zeph spoke again, and there was something like sorrow in the artificial voice. "You do not remember? The suppression was more complete than the last records indicated." New holographic displays appeared, showing star charts that spanned the entire galaxy. Thousands of worlds were marked with the same symbols, connected by lines that suggested vast networks of communication and travel. At the center of it all was the world they had called Earth. The creators seeded 47,000 worlds with life, Zeph explained. They built the great networks that connected every system, established the foundations upon which all current galactic civilization rests. The Council species are their descendants, though they have forgotten their origins. Chen was recording everything, her scientific mind racing to process the implications. "You're saying that humans created galactic civilization. The creators did not call themselves humans. They were known as the Kelthari, the first makers, the shapers of worlds. But yes, they were your ancestors, until the great silence began, and they withdrew to their origin world, severing all connections to prevent the spread of the darkness they had accidentally awakened." Rodriguez felt a chill run down her spine. What darkness? The displays shifted again, showing images of space, itself being torn apart, of stars going dark, of entire sectors of the galaxy becoming voids of nothingness. In their efforts to understand the fundamental nature of reality, the creators accidentally made contact with entities that existed between dimensions. These beings saw the ordered universe as an infection to be cleansed. The war that followed nearly destroyed everything. So our ancestors retreated to Earth and what? Forgot everything. They chose to forget, Zeph corrected. The knowledge of how to breach dimensional barriers was too dangerous to preserve, so they sealed it away, along with their memories of their true nature. They rebuilt their civilization from the beginning, hoping that when they rediscovered space travel, they would be wise enough not to repeat their ancestors' mistakes. Chen was studying the data streams flowing around them. "Zeph, why is this? Station here. Why are you showing us this?" "Because the seals your ancestors placed on the dangerous knowledge are beginning to fail. The Council has been detecting quantum anomalies throughout the galaxy, distortions that suggest something is trying to break through from the spaces between dimensions. Your people need to remember who they really are, because the darkness is returning." Rodriguez felt the weight of destiny settling on her shoulders. What do you expect us to do with this information? That choice is yours, Zeph replied. But know that the Council will not react well to learning the truth. They have built their civilization on the foundations the creators left behind, but they have never known who their true predecessors were. To learn that the primitive humans they recently admitted to their galactic community are actually their creators' descendants. This knowledge will terrify them. Asterisk, as if summoned by Zeph's words, alarms began sounding throughout the station. The displays shifted to show space around them, where a massive council fleet was dropping out of hyperspace. It seems your arrival has been detected, Zeph observed with what might have been amusement. The quantum resonance of your presence has activated dormant systems throughout this sector. The Council's monitoring stations have noticed. Through the chamber's transparent walls, Rodriguez could see the sleek warships of the Galactic Council taking positions around the ancient station. The lead vessel was broadcasting on all frequencies. Unknown human vessel, you are in violation of restricted space. Surrender immediately for processing. Rodriguez activated her CUM badge. This is Captain Rodriguez of the UES Horizon. We are conducting archaeological research on a derelict station. We found no markers indicating this space was restricted. The response came from Commander Vextar of the Council Defense Force, his translated voice carrying barely controlled panic. Captain Rodriguez, you will evacuate that station immediately and submit to quarantine procedures. The facility you have entered is classified beyond your species clearance level. Chen looked up from her recordings. They know what this place is. They've always known. Zeph's voice carried a note of satisfaction. The Council has spent centuries studying the ruins the creators left behind, trying to understand the technology. That forms the basis of their civilization. But they never found the source worlds or the true archives. Until now. The Council fleet was powering weapons systems, clearly preparing to destroy the station rather than let its secrets be revealed. But as they did, something unexpected happened. Throughout the galaxy, ancient systems that had lain dormant for millennia began to respond to the quantum signatures emanating from the archive station. On worlds across Council space, buried installations started activating. Quantum networks that predated known history began establishing connections, and, deep in space, megastructures older than recorded time began to stir. What's happening? Rodriguez demanded as the displays around them lit up with activity across thousands of star systems. The archive's activation has sent out recognition signals, Zeph explained. Your people's quantum signatures are unlocking systems the creators built throughout the galaxy. The Council is about to learn that their entire civilization exists within a network they never knew existed. Commander Vextar's voice came over the communications again, but now it carried unmistakable fear. All ships report status. We're detecting massive power fluctuations across 17 sectors. Unknown installations are coming online throughout Council space. Chen grabbed Rodriguez's arm. Captain, we need to get this information back to Earth. If what Zeph is telling us is true, if our ancestors really were the builders of galactic civilization, then everything is about to change. Rodriguez nodded, understanding the magnitude of what they had discovered. Humanity wasn't a young species stumbling onto the galactic stage. They were the children of the galaxy's architects, and their very presence was awakening systems that had slept for thousands of years. Zeph, she said, can you transfer your archives to our ship? I can provide you with a quantum key that will allow you to access any creator installation in the galaxy, the AI replied. But be warned, Captain Rodriguez. Once you possess this, knowledge, there will be no hiding what your species truly is. The Council will see you as either their rightful rulers or their greatest threats. Maybe both, Rodriguez muttered, accepting the crystalline data core that materialized on the pedestal. As they prepared to leave the station, the Council fleet opened fire, but their weapons struck nothing but empty space. The station had shifted out of normal space-time, using technology that made their fastest ships seem like children's toys. The creators built their archives to be eternal, Zeph explained as they returned to their shuttle. But now that you have awakened one, all of them will begin to stir. The galaxy is about to remember its true history. Rodriguez looked back at the impossible station as it faded from view. She had come looking for ancient ruins and had instead discovered that humanity's destiny was written in the stars themselves. The journey back to Earth would be the most important voyage in human history. As the Horizon jumped to hyperspace, carrying news that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization, neither Rodriguez nor Chen could imagine how drastically their discovery would change everything. The universe was about to remember who had built it, and not everyone would be happy with that revelation. Behind them, the archive station transmitted a signal across quantum dimensions, reaching installations on thousands of worlds. After millennia of silence, the creators' network was awakening. And in the depths of space, something else stirred in response to the activation. Something that had been waiting in the darkness between dimensions for the seals to weaken. The galaxy was about to learn that some knowledge was too dangerous to forget, but too important to ignore. Asterisk, the universe remembers the emergency session of the Galactic Council had been in progress for 12 hours. And Commander Vextar could feel the tension in the chamber like a physical weight. Representatives from 43 species filled the vast amphitheater on the Council's capital world, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and translated voices that reflected their growing panic. The quantum disturbances are spreading, reported Councillor X, her mantis-like form clicking with agitation. 17 more sectors have reported unknown installations activating. These structures are using technology that predates our oldest records. Vextar stood at the central podium, his scaled hide reflecting the chamber's emergency lighting. As military commander of the Council Defense Force, he had dealt with threats ranging from rogue AI to dimensional incursions, but nothing had prepared him for this. The human ship escaped with classified materials from the archive station, he reported grimly. Our analysis suggests that Captain Rodriguez and her team accessed information that could destabilize our entire governmental structure. High Counselor Renth, an ancient being whose species had been among the first to form the modern council, spoke with a voice that carried the weight of centuries. Commander, explain to this assembly what exactly the humans discovered. Activated the holographic display at the center of the chamber, showing the impossible architecture of the archive station. Based on our long-range scans and intercepted transmissions, the station contained records identifying the humans' homeworld as the origin point of galactic civilization. The implications are ... significant. A wave of confused and alarmed sounds swept through the chamber. Councillor Zara, representative of the aquatic Delphins, spoke from her water-filled observation tank. You're suggesting that the humans, who we admitted to the Council less than a decade ago, are somehow connected to the ancients who built the foundational infrastructure of our society. The evidence strongly suggests that possibility. Confirmed. What's more concerning is that the station's activation has triggered responses from installations throughout the galaxy. Our scientists believe these facilities have been dormant for approximately 12,000 years, waiting for the right quantum signature to reactivate them. Meanwhile, racing through hyperspace toward Earth, Captain Rodriguez was dealing with her own crisis. Dr. Chen had been working around the clock to analyze the data core they had retrieved from the archive station, and what she had discovered was reshaping everything they thought they knew about human history. Maria. You need to see this, Chen called from the ship's science lab. Her usually neat appearance was disheveled from hours of intense research, and her eyes held a mixture of wonder and terror. Rodriguez found Chen surrounded by holographic displays showing galactic star charts that spanned thousands of years. The quantum key Zeph had given them was unlocking layers of data that painted a picture of human civilization that defied belief. According to these records, our ancestors weren't just advanced, Chen explained, her voice tight with excitement and fear. They were the architects of everything. The hyperspace lanes that connect the galaxy, they built them. The quantum communication networks the Council uses, human technology, even the basic principles of faster-than-light travel that every species takes for granted were developed on Earth. Rodriguez studied the data streams flowing around them. But if we were so advanced, what happened? Why did we forget everything? Chen activated another display, showing images that made both women recoil. In horror, space itself was being torn apart. Reality bleeding at the edges as something alien and terrible pushed through from another dimension. They made contact with entities that exist in the spaces between dimensions, Chen explained, her scientific training helping her maintain composure despite the disturbing images. Beings that saw our ordered reality as an infection to be cleansed. The war that followed nearly destroyed the galaxy itself. The displays shifted, showing the final desperate measures taken by humanity's ancestors. Massive installations throughout the galaxy being shut down, quantum networks being severed, entire sections of human space being quarantined and abandoned. They retreated to Earth and chose to forget. Rodriguez realized they wiped their own memories to prevent the dangerous knowledge from being passed down. But they left safeguards, Chen added, pointing to the quantum key in her hands. This isn't just a data storage device. It's connected to every installation they ever built. And now that it's active, it's waking everything up. As if summoned by her words, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Lieutenant Commander Park's voice came over the intercom with barely controlled panic. Captain, to the bridge, immediately. We're detecting massive energy signatures throughout human space. Something is happening to Earth itself. Rodriguez and Chen rushed to the bridge, where the main viewers showed their home system in a way neither had ever seen it before. Earth was surrounded by a network of energy patterns that extended far beyond the planet's atmosphere. Geometric structures of pure light that pulsed with impossible colors. The quantum resonance from the key is activating Earth's defensive systems, Park reported. Systems that, according to our sensors, have been buried under the planet's surface for millennia. But it wasn't just Earth that was changing. Throughout human space, installations that had never appeared on any survey were rising from ocean floors and polar ice caps. Ancient structures that had waited 12,000 years for their creators' descendants to return were finally awakening. "Get me Admiral Chen at Seoul Defense Command," Rodriguez ordered, then paused. "Is Admiral Chen any relation to you, Doctor?" Dr. Chen looked up from her readings with surprise. "She's my sister. Why do you ask?" Before Rodriguez could answer, the communication came through. Admiral Lisa Chen appeared on the main screen, her usually calm demeanor cracked by the unprecedented situation developing around Earth. "Maria, thank God you're safe," Admiral Chen said. "We've been trying to reach you for hours. Earth is experiencing phenomena that our scientists can't explain. Ancient installations are activating worldwide, and we're detecting energy signatures that suggest massive technological systems buried beneath the planet's crust." "Admiral, I need to brief you on what we discovered," Rodriguez replied. "But first you need to know that this is just the beginning. According to the information we retrieved, Earth was once the capital of a galactic empire. These installations aren't alien technology, they're human." The silence on the bridge stretched for long moments as Admiral Chen processed this information. Finally, she spoke. "Captain Rodriguez, return to Earth immediately, and bring whatever data you've collected. It seems we have a lot to discuss." But their conversation was interrupted by proximity alarms. The Council fleet that had confronted them at the archive station had followed them to Sol System, and they weren't alone. More than 200 warships from dozens of different species had assembled at the edge of human space. Commander Vex's voice came over all frequencies. "Human vessels, you will stand down immediately and prepare to be boarded. The materials you removed from the archive station pose a threat to galactic security." Admiral Chen's response was swift and decisive. "Commander, you are in violation of human sovereign space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Admiral Vexstar replied. "You cannot threaten the combined might of the Galactic Council with a handful of primitive ships. What happened? Next would be remembered as the moment the galaxy learned to fear humanity once again. The ancient installations on Earth that had been dormant for 12 millennia didn't just activate. They reached out across space with technology that made the Council's most advanced systems seem like stone tools. Every ship in the Council fleet found their weapons systems simply stopped working. Not damaged, not destroyed, just deactivated with surgical precision. "Impossible," Vexter whispered as his ship's weapons went offline. "Nothing can penetrate our quantum shielding." But the technology that was emerging from Earth didn't need to penetrate their defenses. It simply reached through dimensions the Council didn't know existed and turned off their weapons at the molecular level. Dr. Chen was monitoring the quantum signatures emanating from Earth's awakening installations. "It's not just weapons," she reported with growing amazement. "The network is identifying every piece of technology in the system and determining whether it poses a threat. Anything hostile is being systematically disabled." Admiral Chen watched from Sol Command as 2 centuries of carefully constructed galactic power structures crumbled in the span of minutes. The Council fleet, the most powerful military force in known space, had been rendered helpless by technology emerging from humanity's forgotten past. But the awakening Earth installations weren't just defensive. Throughout the galaxy, ancient networks that had been severed for millennia were reconnecting. Quantum communication arrays that predated recorded history began establishing contact with installations on thousands of worlds. On the Council capital, emergency sessions were being held as reports flooded in from across their territory. Ancient structures were emerging from underground complexes on dozens of worlds, all of them responding to signals emanating from Earth. The technological foundation of galactic civilization was revealing itself to be far more extensive than anyone had imagined. The humans weren't just our predecessors, High Counselor Renth realized as he studied the incoming data. They built the infrastructure our entire society depends on. Our hyperspace routes, our communication networks, even our planetary defense systems are all based on technology they developed and then abandoned. Commander Vexter found himself in the unprecedented position of commanding a fleet that had been rendered completely ineffective without a single shot being fired. His tactical officers were reporting system malfunctions that made no sense according to known physics. "Sir," his science officer reported, "the quantum signatures emanating from the human installations are rewriting the basic operating code of our technology. It's as if our systems are recognizing a higher authority and deferring to it." Back on the bridge of the horizon, Captain Rodriguez realized that she was witnessing the birth of a new galactic order. The quantum key in Dr. Chun's possession wasn't just unlocking ancient archives. It was awakening the dormant nervous system of a galactic empire that had chosen to sleep rather than risk another dimensional war. "Incoming transmission from Earth," Park reported. It's not coming through normal channels. The signal is arriving simultaneously across all frequencies and through quantum dimensions we don't have technology to access." The voice that spoke was ancient beyond measure, but somehow familiar to every human who heard it. It was the collective voice of their ancestors, preserved in quantum matrices buried beneath Earth's surface for 12,000 years. "Children of Earth, children of the Kelthari, the time of forgetting is over. The seals we placed on dangerous knowledge are failing, and the darkness stirs once more in the spaces between dimensions. We preserved you from our mistakes, but now you must choose whether to reclaim your inheritance and face the trials we fled from." Throughout human space, people stopped what they were doing as ancient memories began surfacing in their minds. Not their own memories, but genetic echoes of what their species had once been. The knowledge of how to build starships that could cross the galaxy in hours. The understanding of technologies that could reshape matter at the quantum level. The terrible wisdom of what lay beyond the barriers of normal space-time. Dr. Chen felt the knowledge flooding into her consciousness and understood with crystal clarity what her people faced. "We're remembering who we were," she told Rodriguez. "But with that knowledge comes responsibility. Our ancestors hid themselves away because they nearly destroyed everything. Now we have to decide if we're wise enough to do better." The Council fleet found themselves in a situation no military manual had prepared them for. They had come to arrest primitive humans and instead discovered that they were facing the awakened descendants of their creators. More than that, they were realizing that their entire civilization existed within a network those creators had built. Commander Vextar opened a communication channel to Admiral Chen. "Admiral, we need to talk." The meeting that followed would reshape galactic politics for centuries to come. Representatives from both sides gathered in neutral space aboard a station that had materialized from quantum dimensions at humanity's request. It was built from materials that hadn't existed in normal space-time, using principles of construction. That made the most advanced Council technology seem primitive. "Humanity stands at a crossroads," Admiral Chen explained to the assembled Council representatives. "We can reclaim our ancestors' empire and rule the galaxy as we once did. The technology awakening throughout our space gives us that power. But we remember why our people chose to forget, and we don't intend to repeat their mistakes." High Counselor Renth, ancient even by his species' standards, spoke carefully. "What do you propose?" "Partnership," Dr. Chen replied, having been chosen to represent humanity's scientific community. "Our ancestors' technology is waking up throughout the galaxy. Rather than let that knowledge be misused, we offer to share it responsibly. Together, we can build a civilization based on wisdom rather than power." Commander Vextar, his military mind still reeling from the casual display of technological superiority he had witnessed, asked the question that haunted him. And if we refuse? If the Council sees humanity as a threat to be eliminated? Admiral Chen's response was quiet, but carried the weight of a species that had once ruled the stars. Commander, you've seen what our defensive systems can do. Do you really want to discover what our weapons are capable of? The silence that followed was profound. Everyone in the chamber understood that they were present at a moment that would define the future of galactic civilization. Humanity had returned to the galactic stage not as supplicants seeking membership in the Council, but as the sleeping architects of galactic society finally awakening to reclaim their birthright. But even as they negotiated the shape of this new reality, deep in the quantum dimensions that connected all space and time, ancient entities that had once waged war against the Kelthari began to stir. The activation of humanity's technology had not gone unnoticed in the spaces between dimensions. The universe had remembered who built it. Now it remained to be seen whether humanity had learned enough wisdom in their 12,000 years of sleep to face the darkness their ancestors had fled from. The galaxy would never be the same. And in the depths of space, something vast and patient began to move toward the light of inhabited worlds, drawn by the quantum signatures of technologies. It remembered all too well. The real test was yet to come. Asterisk.